Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. Well, Hurricane Beryl has made landfall this morning in Houston, Texas. It's going over that area right now. About 1 million customers, they're saying so far, are without power. And it's going to create a lot of flooding. It looks like it already has, and it's moving northward. In fact, here this morning, even though we're several hundred miles away, we're already experiencing some rain, some thunder. You might hear it off in the distance. And while what we're getting here today, right now, isn't necessarily from that storm, they're saying it's the disturbance kind of being pushed up this area. Now, it could also be like lasers and radars and stuff like that causing it, but we're expecting some potentially flooding rain over the next few days, at least a couple of days. But I wanna remind everyone, especially for those of you you're not from the South, maybe you're new to the area, here or all the way down, anywhere in the path of this hurricane. If you're new to hurricanes, the next couple of days, while there could be a lot of rain, the temperatures are going to be kind of nice. Like right now, the temperature is just about perfect. Humidity will seem not too bad, because it's all coming down on you. But then after that, folks, get ready for some heat and some humidity, because it's going to hit us. In fact, here where I live, next week, first part of next week, we're talking nearly triple-digit weather. So just thought I'd give you a warning. To the point of annoying many of you, I get on here nearly daily, I often, several times a week, and I push and encourage you to become part of some kind of community, whether it's the existing community where you live, or create that community feel, bring together other like-minded people for some kind of mutual assistance group. The point is that you need other people, and we're not designed to be alone. I'm not saying that a lone wolf can't make it. I'm just saying that that's not how we're supposed to be. And with what we're facing, I firmly believe that we'll be better off with other people around us. But you have to be careful. I'm hearing more and more as I continue to do this, and I talk about community, and we have our meetings here, and we encourage and help other folks, have some type of community meetings, advise and things like that. I hear more and more about people that are doing their own little group thing, which is fine, but it's kind of weird. It's almost to the point, maybe it's beyond the point of it being a cult, that it's just some narcissist out there that's trying to create a bunch of followers that, there's a lot of weird stuff out there. And you have to be cautious. And while it's very important to build relationships and make connections with people, it's also, you have to be cautious, because there's bad actors out there that's going to take advantage of people like you and I, or at least attempt to. And they're going to try to lure you in to their community, when in fact they're just trying to, get out of you. Maybe they want you to do all the work. Maybe they want all your money. You have to contribute so much money, so many things, so much food, so much ammunition. Maybe they're just looking for groupies, for followers, for people to praise them like they're some type of messiah of some sort. That stuff does exist. It's always existed. And I believe firmly that as we go further down this road and things become more crazy and corrupt, we're going to see that more. And so I want to just a word of caution for everyone to be careful of joining a prepper, end times, militia, whatever type of community. Which is why we have really shifted gears in a lot of ways here. We started off 4+ years ago of trying to build that type of kind of prepper community. We weren't all living on the same property, nothing like that, but we were in a little region, and we grew to where it was more regional. You know, we had people in the surrounding counties and stuff all coming together. And now we've realized that really the best option is to take this existing area, the existing community that lives out here rurally, and kind of, I don't know, you could call it evangelizing them, getting out there and trying to get more and more people in the actual physical community around us to just pull together and work together and do much like what happened, you know, 50 and 100 years ago throughout most of rural America. But we have to be cautious of the people that are leading people astray. And sometimes, I think, sometimes they may not be intentionally doing it. They may inside really truly want to create this prepper community, this homestead, this off-grid type community, but they have kind of ill intentions. They're also doing it for their own personal glory, or maybe they interpret scriptures or other religions in some weird, strange way. And so you end up with cults. You end up with very strange, extreme-based groups. And I want to caution you from that, because typically, whenever there's some social upheaval, whenever society just isn't functioning properly, right? Whenever things are out of whack, that's when you start to see these, you know, cults and stuff pop up. If you go back and you look at the during the 60s, you know, the whole hippie movement and that whole kind of revolution that was going on here in the United States, it created a lot of social upheaval, a lot of social instability. And then what did you see after that in the 70s and 80s? If you kind of follow the pattern, a lot of what was going on in the late 60s, early 70s led to many numerous cults being formed throughout the 70s into the 80s. And it was known during that time. There's documentaries that's made of how many wackadoo cults happened, and some of these cults ended up, you know, in some serious tragedy where, you know, many of them mass suicides, or they committed crimes or things like that. Or it was just simply, get out of here, bug. It was simply that the people innocently became part of this group only to find out that the leader was there to take their things, or to take their children, or to take their wives, to take their money. And so we saw a lot of that in America during that time period. I suspect as things get more crazy, as there's more of this divide between the left and the right, you know, this hard push on the left for radical ideas like the transgender and the pro, you know, Hamas and the Black Lives Matter and all these types of movements. And then on the other side, you've got extreme right, where, you know, they're wanting to, you know, do all of these things that kind of sound biblical and moral, but they're pushing it as far to the right as they can. And there's going to be this clashing. And I think that's where you're going to find a lot of that. Plus, on top of that, we're in a unique situation where it appears that society, the world, is kind of falling apart, and catastrophe is just around the next corner. And so having kind of prepper groups / cults pop up are going to be, I think, very, very likely. In fact, I know that they're already happening. I hear little whispers and rumors and things about them. Be cautious. I think this is always one of the big red flags for me, is be cautious if there's a central leader, like a central figure, and that everything seems to revolve around them, where they have to be in charge of everything all the time. You know, everything's kind of about them. Be cautious if you're around a group and then you notice that all of the members seem to like flock around the leader, like he's, you know, something really special. If he kind of sets himself apart, meaning that he behaves differently, he's not engaged in the same way that everyone else. If it looks like that, I would be cautious. because I believe in a good functioning society community, yes, there typically is a central leader, and then there's other people that kind of fall under them. But they, on a daily basis, it really should be, as long as things are smooth and peaceful and functioning, it should be very egalitarian, meaning that the leader or the leaders don't really behave and function any different than just the average person's part of it. In fact, you should be able to walk into a function and maybe not at first even know, who is the leader, what's going on. He or she is just kind of functioning like everyone else, doing the work together, eating together like everything's fine. I would be cautious if you see that kind of stuff. If you see them have a lot of pretty kind of strange standards that aren't normal, and I understand different religious beliefs and different what's the right term? I can't think of it right now. They're spectrums, I guess you could say. Take for instance, how I believe as being Torah observant. There's a big wide spectrum to that, and those of you that understand what I'm saying, you get it. But there's also you get beyond that normal spectrum, and you get into like the fringy, crazy, kooky ones. I'm going to give you an example. Several years ago, before I started what we're doing here, I went to a prepper type of group thing, and it was they had kind of their own little community. They weren't all living on it. It wasn't a commune or anything like that. But I went to it, and it was very religiously based, and their religion, their beliefs and mine were similar enough, So I thought, well, maybe this is the thing. So anyways, I went to it, and it was kind of like a picnic dinner thing, and all of the men were sitting in one area, and the women were waiting on the men. The women, I mean, when I say that, they were getting the food and bringing it to the men, and that in itself was not strange. It was the way the men were treating the women. They were treating them like they were slaves. The women would come over and they would, almost like bow their head and give the food to the man, and the men would be like, "Woman, go get me this. Bring me another tea. Bring me woman." And the women were just very extremely submissive, and I was like, "Whoa, this is I don't feel comfortable with this." And so I, of course, left and never looked back. I'm not saying that they were a bad deal. I'm just saying there's red flags there, and you need to be cautious of that. Don't be so desperate to be part of a community and feel this pressure because things are getting worse. The world is falling apart at a faster pace, which is true. We all agree with that. It's true. But don't be so pressured and so desperate and so panicked that you would attach yourself to a group where, regardless of the reasons, that is not where you need to be. If there's red flags, you need to start backing away, okay? That doesn't mean that those red flags are legitimate, but if you start to feel uncomfortable in red flags, you need to step back and maybe observe from a distance, maybe do some thinking, maybe talk to some friends, because I'm telling you, folks, I think this is, I'm seeing it already, little bits. I mean, it's not widespread, it's not an epidemic, but considering how things are working out in this country, I think we are creating a perfect opportunity for a lot of people to step up and create some very extreme, culty, wackadoo prepper groups, homestead groups, whatever it is, end time groups, to kind of bring people together and save everyone. And they end up just being crazy, and they take advantage of people, and they hurt people. And I want you to be cautious of that. Absolutely. Again, there's no problem having leadership. There should be leadership. But again, be cautious of how the group looks at that leadership. Be cautious of the things that they focus on. If they're only focusing on one area, this may not necessarily mean they're extremist or a cult, but you know, if they're focusing only on let's say guns, you know, all they do is just guns, 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 and no one's growing food, no one's raising animals, no one's doing anything like that. They're just you know, oh, we're this you know, militia group, family group kind of thing, community, and that's all we do is combat. That's weird. That's not going to last. I've had actually people tell me that, well, you know, in fact, I've spoke with someone quite a while back, and they had some land, and they were wanting to build a community on the property. And they said that they didn't want to do any work. What they were hoping to do is bring people on the property that did all the work, and the leader, the owner, was, you know, basically didn't have to do anything because all these other people did all the work for him and did all the gardening and raising the animals. And then the leader, you know, he would kind of coordinate defense and stuff. That's not good enough. Everyone needs to be contributing. Everyone needs to be working equally as much as possible, equally according to what they're able to. Details can be worked out, but just be cautious of these kinds of things because, again, lest I repeat myself, I believe that there is just the atmosphere is perfect for this right now. And we should be coming together in community. We should be building tribe and team and all of that kind of stuff because we will make it through all of this way better. But you also need to be very cautious of crazy, extremist, culty leaders and groups out there because they are out there and I think they're going to get worse. Folks, it's time to get your houses in order and to prepare yourselves mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.